Hello and welcome back to my channel. A few weeks ago, maybe a month ago at this point, you were probably just as surprised as I was to see that ColourPop was launching a Sailor Moon collection. I don't know if you can tell or not, but I have always been a big Sailor Moon fan. And if you are one of the original subscribers of this channel, or you followed my Tumblr back in the day or any of that, you would know that. So I bought this, well, I'll get more into that drama in a minute, but I bought this collection the day it came out because I was going to review it. Now, unfortunately, because I'm Canadian and I'm not on ColourPop's PR list, it took a long time for the pieces that I was able to get to me. So at this point, everyone already has review videos on it. So I'm going to just review the palette today, but just know that I also have all 4 lip colors and 1 of the glitters. Unfortunately, there are 2 blushes in this set and a second glitter, but I was unable to get them. Yes, I am a 26-year-old lady, and I brought my MacBook with me to work, my adult actual job, and I said, listen guys, I need to take a break around 1 o'clock, because that's what time for me, the collection was launching, and I put the bundle, which was $89 American, in my cart, and tried to check out, and PayPal was just spinning, and it wouldn't load, and it wouldn't load, and eventually when it did load, the bundle was sold out. So within 2 minutes of this collection being released, the bundle was sold out. So then I went, okay, screw that. I'm going to add each item into my cart individually. And at that point, both of the blushes and 1 of the glitters, the glitter I actually wanted, to be honest with you, was also already sold out. So I have never done an at the moment it launches purchase with ColourPop before this. And I have to admit, I'm really disappointed. Like, it is unreal that within the first 5 minutes of a collection going on sale, you're sold out of the bundle and like half the pieces. I understand that maybe in theory it's a marketing technique to like drive up the scarcity or whatever, but you should have enough stock to last the first hour. You know, like, that's so stupid. And now I probably won't end up doing another purchase to get the blushes. So really, they just don't have my money, you know? And I'm just disappointed by that. It could have been so much better. And I'm disappointed in them for that. But, alas, I do have the palette, and we're going to talk about it. Before we talk about the palette, I do want to give you a little bit of my own personal Sailor Moon fangirl history. If you don't want to hear that, and you just want to hear about the palette, please go to this timestamp here. And then you can only hear about the palette. But here's my history with Sailor Moon, okay? When I was growing up, my eldest sister, Emily, there is an 11-year age difference between us. So she was a teenager, and I was very, very young. And she used to watch Sailor Moon a lot. Specifically the Japanese version of Sailor Moon, and she would watch it on VHS, and sometimes it didn't even have subtitles, and she would watch it and she'd be able to follow along, but I was a kid, still hardly, you know, understanding English, so I was just happy to be there, you know, just happy to watch along. And I specifically remember watching the Super S season with her, and the Super S movie, so I think that's why I have sort of like an emotional connection to Super S the most, because it's the one that I really remember watching when I was younger. And so I liked Sailor Moon, and then I guess it was around grade 10, I needed a show to watch just like while I was doing stuff, so something that was like light that I could just watch in about 20-minute chunks. And so I had the idea that I could download Sailor Moon. So I did that, and slowly my Tumblr got taken over by Sailor Moon, and some friends of mine in real life, who I am now, this would not go over well, but at the time I just smiled and went along with it. They told me that I was blogging too much Sailor Moon and that it was annoying, so they asked me to stop. And so I said, I'll just make another blog. So it ended up being sort of a blessing in disguise. So I made a blog called Exo Sailor Mars, which ended up being, you know, a big chunk of my life for like 10 years. I use Exo Sailor Mars all day, every day. I was always logging in at school, even in college. I was always making GIFs. I was always making graphics, always talking to my Sailor Moon fans. And my friend, my in-real-life friend Katie, who I go to Anime North with every year, we became friends because she was also a Sailor Moon blog. And we became friends, and it's like, I'm going to her wedding now. Like, we're just still friends because of that. And I just, like, Sailor Moon became such a massive part of my life. I have a tattoo on my back from the Dead Moon Circus arc in Super S. Like, it became one of those things. I have spent a gazillion dollars on collectibles because I love it so much. Obviously, Sailor Mars is my favorite. I just have always really connected with her because she's got that sort of rough outside and she's all mushy on the inside. And I have worn this costume, this particular costume, for years. I wear it to every convention. I wear it to Anime North every year, to the extent that I feel kind of weird at a convention when I'm not dressed as her. Like, I have so many other costumes now at this point, so many other costumes, and I feel weird when I'm not Sailor Mars. And the funniest thing is when you go up to a booth at like a convention, like a vendor, they usually show you things that they have, that are connected to the anime or the whatever that you're dressed as. So I sort of have developed this, like, thing where I go up to a booth and I'm like, okay, where's your Sailor Moon stuff? And so when I'm dressed as, like, Pennywise or Xena, so they don't show me their Sailor Moon stuff, I'm like, buddy, like, what's up? I have seen every episode in English and in Japanese. I have many autographs from the original English cast, because the original dub, the 90s dub, that gets a lot of flack, I love it. I love many things about the 90s dub. I love many things about the original Japanese. I like things about the new dub. I don't care. But I have so many things signed by the 90s cast because they're Canadian, so they do conventions all the time. Actually, when I was in college, you have to write like a paper at the end of it about something in like the broadcast world, because that's what I went to school for. And you have to interview so many professionals, and every single interview that I did for my final paper, I did my final paper on voice acting, and every interview that I did was with a Sailor Moon original cast member. I know specifically I interviewed Toby Proctor, who was Tuxedo Mask, which is extra hilarious because of the massive crush I had on Darian's voice as a child, so that's funny. I know I interviewed Katie Griffin, who is Sailor Mars, Linda Valentine, who became Serena, Sailor Moon, Susan Roman, who's Sailor Jupiter. I interviewed John Stalker, who was more like a producery type role, but he did a couple of voices too. Like, I think he was Grandpa's voice, like Grandpa Hino's voice. I interviewed so many voice actors from that show, and I have the manga, and I have so many autographs. And there's actually a poster up there behind me. I'll have to insert a clip of just a whole bunch of autographs on one fan art that I bought. And Terry Hawks is actually on that one. Terry Hawks is often regarded as the favorite English voice for Sailor Moon, and I agree, she's fantastic, so I love that. I love the anime Sailor Moon. I love the musicals. I listen to the musicals all the time. I love the live action. The live action might be my favorite, to be honest with you. If you've never seen the live action Sailor Moon, it's so good. Watch it. I just love Sailor Moon. And the funny thing is, well, I was still running my Sailor Moon blog when I was in college, and I wanted to start making video content for my blog because I was in school for that, right? And I shot a video doing Sailor Moon's hair, my usagi hair tutorial, and I went to upload it to Tumblr, but the video file was too big, so I uploaded it to YouTube. And if you go back on my channel, that is the first video ever uploaded to this channel. And then I kept going, and I started shooting more and more videos about Sailor Moon. I did a video on each of the different sort of eras of the musical, and a video on the live action, and all of that stuff, and that's kind of how this channel started. If you didn't know that, it was originally a Sailor Moon channel, so I could link it to my Tumblr. And then I kind of ran out of Sailor Moon stuff to talk about because I kind of covered all the bases, and then it morphed into sort of what it is today. So this YouTube channel started because of Sailor Moon, so I had to buy this collection, is what I'm trying to say. So when I say I love Sailor Moon, and I know lots about Sailor Moon, okay? I'm not messing around. I can't believe I went to college for 3 years with a big blue Sailor Moon backpack, and like people were so nice about it, and they loved it. And I had so much Sailor Moon merch. A lot of it doesn't fit me anymore because I got fat, but I just love it so much, you know? So, I want to talk about the ColourPop eyeshadow palette. So this is what the palette looks like. I don't know that oh, there you go. I couldn't get the front of it to do the thing when I was doing the close-ups, but there you go. I have to admit, I think the front of it's cute, but I feel like if they were going to go for, I can't remember what this word is, but if they were going to go with this sort of effect for the front of the palette, I wish they had picked a different image. I wish they had picked like Usagi in her normal clothes and then her Senshi outfit, that sort of thing. I wish they had done something like that. I actually am a bigger fan of the outer packaging because the outer packaging, this art, was done for a special release of merchandise, I think about 10 years ago, in Italy, and it was done by an Italian artist whose name is Marco Albiro, I believe. And this was, I think, definitely a fan favorite line of art. And so the fact that they went with this art for the packaging, I just think was such a great idea, especially after the art of the newer anime Sailor Moon Crystal was such a bust. I know they kind of fixed it eventually, but I mean, when people were waiting for the new anime and you messed it up right out of the gate, I mean, come on. All of the names of the eyeshadow colors have Sailor Moon meanings: Shining Moon, Twilight Flash, Silver Crystal, that sort of thing. And the cool thing about this palette is that a couple of the shades are actually pressed pigments. So, Mare Serenitatis, I don't know what that one is. That one's a pressed pigment, apparently. Miracle Romance is a pressed pigment, and so is Tuxedo Rose. Those are all pressed pigments, which I'm not surprised at. I do have swatches for you in this video. And the fun thing about those pressed pigments, though, is they're apparently not intended for use around the immediate eye area, which, as you know, is a favorite thing of mine. I love when eyeshadow palettes have eyeshadows that you can't use on your eyes, but in this case, because they're pressed pigments, the issue is that they're going to stain rather than have glitter chunks that cut your eyes open. So I don't hate that as much as I hate it in other palettes, so I will accept it here. My palette that arrived today, I will admit that it's not in perfect condition. A couple of the eyeshadows look like they're going to fall out at any second. Silver Millennium and that one that I can't pronounce for sure look a little bit crumbly to me, and then a couple of the beautiful bright shades on the bottom especially, they sort of have cracks around the outside edge, so I don't know how well they're going to hold up. Something else to know about the inside of the palette is that when I was looking at this palette originally on ColourPop's social medias and Trendmood's social medias, I don't know what it is, but I feel like they really turned up the saturation on their images, and it really didn't work out for them in the best, because I thought the whole first row was going to be much more orange than it is in real life. In real life, it's very neutral, and I feel like it's much more usable. I was afraid this whole palette was going to be hot pink and bright orange. Something else about the colors in this palette is it seems to be very usagi based, and all of the merchandise actually is pretty usagi based. I know some of the blushes have Luna on them, but this is pretty much just Sailor Moon herself. So Jordan Wynn, who works at ColourPop, she's also one of the co-owners of Insert Name Here Hair, she was kind of in the comments on Instagram saying, you know, should we do collections for other Sailor Scouts? Should we do one collection for all the other Scouts? That sort of thing. So I am hoping that ColourPop will do another collection, either A, one collection for all the other Inner Senshi, or B, it would make sense for them to do a collection per Inner Senshi, especially because ColourPop is so big into their monochromatic eyeshadow palettes these days. I think that would make sense, and I would 100,000% buy the Sailor Mars one the moment it came out, just so you know. So this eyeshadow palette cost $20 American, and then I bought all this stuff with it, so I ended up getting the right amount of money for free shipping, so that was nice. On the website it just says, Sailor Moon and ColourPop, one of the most requested collabs is here with the most kawaii palette ever. Ugh, cringe. Pretty pastels and matte metallic foiled and super shock finishes create the sweet looks. Now, something that I saw a lot of people complaining about on the internet was the fact that this collection is only available in US, Canada, Mexico, Australia, UK, and France. A lot of people were upset that, you know, they could buy ColourPop if they live in other countries, but they can't buy this collection. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm kind of not surprised about that. It's probably a licensing issue, especially somewhere like Japan, because I'm sure other companies just have the rights to license Sailor Moon, whereas in North America and, you know, the UK and Australia, I'm sure no other company has thought to pick this up yet, so that's why. So I did swatch this palette for you, so we're going to go to those swatch clips in a second. So my method for swatching these was I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in each palette, so 5 circles. I just got a little overboard, and then 1 or 2 swipes on my arm. I show it in the clip if I felt like I needed 2 swipes. So let's just go to that. So as you can see, for the most part, the colors in this palette are fantastic. This bottom row here especially, I think is particularly beautiful, especially this Justice shade, this yellow shade. It's very hard to find really nice yellow eyeshadow, so that was beautiful. I find the top row to be sort of disappointing, and the Silver Millennium shade really doesn't have any back pigment to me, so I'm kind of disappointed with that. It's just kind of a gold shimmer with nothing behind it, but it's nice enough. So overall, I think this palette is cute and it works, and with the exception of the fact that I think to truly be Usagi, it needs a blue shade or a couple of blue shades in here. I think it's very her, and it's very cute. I do wish it had a mirror, just because I prefer all of my eyeshadow palettes to have mirrors. That way I can just hold it here and dip it in and do things and that sort of thing. But, I mean, I won't hold it against it. I am wearing this palette on my eyes today. I did a quick little eye look for you using some of the shades at the bottom mainly. I did originally try to use some of the top shades, so I started out with the shade Shining Moon to kind of buff into my crease. Didn't really do much. Then I went into Moon Castle to buff some sort of pinky brownie in my crease. That one turned out much pinkier than I think it looks in the pan, which I don't hate. It sort of gave me like a pinky peachy look, and I thought it was just going to be brown. That's okay. And then after that, I just kind of gave up, and I was like, we're going to go full bright. So I used the shade Miracle Romance on the outer corner of my eye, and then in the center, I used Tuxedo Rose, and then on the inner corner, I used Justice to kind of create this sort of sunsetty look. So overall, if you're a Sailor Moon fan, I think the palette is cute. I wish there was a different picture on the front, something that's just a little less of just a reaction gif, something that was a little more special, even if it was just this picture on the front with that little bit of holographicness that it has. But it's fine, it still works. Something I'm going to get away from the eyeshadow palette for a second here. Something I am disappointed with, honestly, is the lip colors. I bought both sets mainly because my eldest sister wanted the daytime set, and I couldn't get the daytime set because it was sold out, so I had to buy them individually. These are both ultra blotted lips, but they're pretty much the exact same color as the shades that are in the Moonlight kit, which are glossy lips. So I have the shade Moon Tiara on right now with a lip liner on underneath it, and it's just so sheer. It's just gloss. There's hardly any color to it. And then the other gloss shade, which is just called Sailor Moon, is pretty much the same thing, just a little bit pinkier. So I really feel like they could have done something more exciting with the lip colors than just that. But, you know, it is what it is. I would have liked it if they would have had, like, one of their luxe lipsticks, like an actual lipstick, rather than the glosses. But I'm just going to take a glove off so that I can open the other two boxes and show you how exactly the same all four shades are. So this one is the shade Usagi, which, if you did not know, it's her Japanese name. And that's one of the ultra blotted lips. And then this one is the shade Bunhead, I believe. These are the two ultra blotted lip colors, okay? Do you see this? These are almost exactly the same. These are the glosses, but they look different, but they're really just both sheer. So, do you see what I'm saying? I'm so disappointed with the lip color choice. I really feel like they could have done something in here that was more fun. A brighter pink or something. You know, something a little more fun. It's okay. I'm going to be butthurt about it forever, probably. So yeah, my overall thoughts on the eyeshadow palette are honestly what I usually say about eyeshadow palettes. It's like, if you're a big fan of Sailor Moon and you like the colors, you're going to love this palette. The benefit about ColourPop is they're not that expensive. And I'm sure on ColourPop's website you can find enough stuff to do an order and get free shipping. Like, even if you're just going to try out their foundation or get eyebrow stuff, like, I'm sure you'll be okay. The nice thing about this palette is that it has the ability to be more neutral, I guess. But the real selling point of this palette, I think, is the really bright colors. You don't usually get combinations like that. And most of us have neutral eyeshadows anyway. You know, if you're watching a video about a Sailor Moon eyeshadow palette, you probably have neutrals somewhere in what you own. So it's a cute palette, and I like it, and I don't regret buying it. I don't know that I would buy this one again. But, like, if they do a Sailor Mars collection, it's mine. The fact that I own a Sailor Mars Pulip doll, I paid $200 for a Sailor Mars Pulip doll. I have to buy the eyeshadow palette, if it happens, you know? And anyway, I forgot how hot this costume is, so I'm gonna go take it off now. But thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you liked it. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and you subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed already. And I will see you next time. Peace.